Hello, my friend. Thank you for being here. Before we begin, I want you to pause, just for a moment. Take a slow breath in and let it out gently. Because the journey we are about to take is not just a financial lesson. It's an emotional one, a human one, a journey into the heart of what it means to live freely. Today, we begin exploring a simple yet profound truth. Money is freedom. Not freedom in the loud, extravagant way the world likes to show it. Not in the luxury cars, the gold watches, or the perfect vacation photos. But in the quiet, deeply personal sense of freedom. The kind that lets you breathe easier, sleep longer, and live life with dignity and choice. Money, at its core, is not wealth. It is capacity. It is the ability to make decisions not based on fear, but based on intention. It is the soft permission to say yes to what matters and no to what harms you. But before we talk about strategies, habits, and mindsets, we must talk about something more important: your relationship with money. Because everyone has one, even if you've never consciously thought about it. For some, money is a source of anxiety. For others, a symbol of pride. For many, it is a reminder of childhood struggles, unpaid bills, or dreams delayed. And for some, money is something they were taught to fear, avoid, or even resent. Yet here's the gentle truth. Money is simply energy. It moves, flows, grows, shrinks, responds, and transforms based on how you treat it. Like water, it nourishes when directed wisely, and damages when ignored. So in this first chapter of our journey, I want to reframe the foundation. Money is not the goal. Money is the tool. Freedom is the goal. Freedom to wake up without panic. Freedom to leave a toxic environment. Freedom to care for your parents. Freedom to give your children choices you never had. Freedom to create, to rest, to breathe, to explore. Freedom to live, not just survive. When you understand money as a tool, the shame disappears. The fear dissolves. The confusion clears. Because you stop asking, how can I get more money? And you start asking, how can I get more freedom? And that is an entirely different question. Over the next 8 chapters, this journey we are taking together, we will explore how money shapes your time, your emotions, your choices, your purpose, your relationships, and ultimately, your future. We will dig into the deep psychology behind financial freedom, the invisible chains of scarcity, and the liberating power of understanding your own worth. But everything begins here, with this gentle, opening realization that you deserve freedom. Not eventually, not someday, but in your lifetime, starting now with awareness. So settle in, let your mind open, and let your heart soften. Because the first step toward financial freedom is not action, it is awakening. This is where your journey truly begins. Part 1. The invisible weight of scarcity. As we continue this journey, I want to take you somewhere most people avoid: the quiet, heavy space where financial stress lives. Not because I want to bring you down, but because we cannot talk about freedom without understanding what holds us captive. And the truth is, before money gives you freedom, the lack of it takes something profound from you. It takes your ease. It takes your sleep. It takes your clarity. It takes the softness from your days. Financial scarcity is not only about empty pockets, it is about a mind that never gets to rest. It is about a heart that is always negotiating between needs. It is about a spirit that feels too tired to dream. Think about a time when you didn't know if you could pay a bill on time. Think about the tightness in your chest, the racing thoughts, the silent fear that whispers, "What if things get worse?" Think about the decisions you had to make, not because you wanted to, but because you had no other choice. This is the invisible weight that millions carry every day, a weight that people around them cannot see because it doesn't show on the outside. But inside, it is heavy. When you don't have enough money, everything becomes harder. You hesitate before buying groceries. You delay medical checkups. You stay in jobs that drain you. You tolerate situations that break your spirit. You let your dreams collect dust because survival demands your full attention. And maybe you've experienced this. Maybe you are living it right now. If you are, I want you to hear this. There is nothing wrong with you. Scarcity is not a personal failure. It is a system that traps good people in cycles of exhaustion. But here is the hopeful truth. Scarcity does not have to be your permanent story. It is a chapter, not a destiny. To understand freedom, you must first acknowledge the chains. Not to blame yourself, but to recognize what you deserve to break free from. Financial stress is not just a burden, it is a thief. It steals your capacity to think long-term. It steals your joy in small moments. It steals the version of you that is calm, creative, expressive, and alive. But once you recognize the weight, you can begin to lighten it. And this is why money matters. Not for luxury, not for ego, not for validation, but for peace. Peace is the most underrated form of wealth. And money, when understood and managed with care, creates space for peace to return. As we move forward, I want you to imagine something. Imagine a version of your life where the constant tension is gone, where decisions feel intentional instead of desperate, where your mind is no longer occupied by fear, but by possibility. That version of you is not far away. It begins with understanding scarcity and choosing to walk toward freedom, one step at a time. Part 2. Money buys time, and time builds life. There is a truth about money that few people slow down enough to understand. Money does not buy happiness, but it buys time. And time is the foundation on which happiness, purpose, and peace are built. Let's explore this gently. Every human life, no matter how wealthy or poor, is measured in hours. Hours we spend working, hours we spend resting, hours we spend loving, learning, worrying, healing, or growing. And here's the quiet truth most people miss. The way you spend your hours becomes the story of your life. When you don't have enough money, your hours are no longer yours. They belong to survival. They belong to obligation. They belong to stress. You work jobs you don't love. You sacrifice rest because you need overtime. You let passion sleep because your schedule is full of necessity. You silence your dreams because your reality leaves no room for them. But money, used wisely, can slowly begin to return your hours to you. Imagine having the ability to say no to work that drains your soul. Imagine choosing a job for meaning instead of desperation. Imagine having evenings free to build something of your own. Imagine weekends spent resting or learning instead of calculating how to stretch your last bit of income. This is the first and greatest power of money. It gives you back the most precious resource of all, time. But what you do with that time, That is where your true life begins to take shape. Think about the people who seem fulfilled, grounded, and purposeful. They are not always the richest, but they have something equally valuable. They have space in their days. Space to breathe, space to think, space to create, space to choose. Time is the soil in which every dream grows. With more time, you can learn new skills, build a business, nurture relationships, explore your passions, or simply rest, because rest itself is a powerful creator of clarity. And yet, society often confuses busyness with value. People feel guilty for resting, guilty for slowing down, guilty for wanting time. But guilt is a lie. Needing time is not laziness. It is humanity. We were not designed to run endlessly on fear and pressure. We were designed to grow through rhythm, intention, and awareness. When money gives you time, it gives you back the ability to live intentionally. You begin to ask new questions. What kind of life do I want? How do I want to spend my mornings? What kind of work makes me feel alive? What contribution do I want to make in the world? What relationships do I want to nurture? These questions do not appear in a mind drowning in urgency. They appear only when the mind is free, and freedom begins with time. So yes, money matters. Not because it creates happiness directly, but because it creates the conditions where happiness is finally possible. If you can reclaim even 1 hour of your day, 1 hour not owned by stress, 1 hour dedicated to growth, that hour can become the first brick in the foundation of your future. This is how freedom starts. Not with millions, but with minutes. Minutes that belong to you again. Part 3. The Psychology of Wealth. What money does to the mind. If money affects your time, your opportunities, and your choices, then it naturally affects something even deeper, your mind. Not in the superficial sense of ego or pride, but in the quiet, private way your thoughts shape your life when no one else is watching. Because money is not just an economic concept, it is a psychological one. And to understand freedom, you must first understand how money interacts with your emotions, your identity, and your inner narrative. Let's begin with something simple but rarely spoken aloud. When you don't have enough money, your brain works differently. Science tells us that scarcity, any form of scarcity, narrows your mental bandwidth. It forces your mind into survival mode. You become more reactive, less creative. You focus on today's problems, not tomorrow's possibilities. You lose the mental spaciousness needed for strategy, reflection, and innovation. And maybe you've lived this. Maybe you've felt your mind racing late at night, cycling through the same worries again and again. Maybe you've felt the mental exhaustion that comes from calculating bills, delaying purchases, or juggling priorities. If so, I want you to hear this clearly. That mental strain is not a weakness. It is a natural response to scarcity. But here's the hopeful part. As your financial situation improves, even slightly, your mind begins to transform. Where there was pressure, clarity appears. Where there was panic, calm settles in. Where there was tunnel vision, your imagination slowly widens. Possibility begins to enter your thoughts again. This is why financial freedom is not just about money. It is about mental freedom. But psychology also plays another role, the role of belief. Every person carries a money script, a set of subconscious beliefs shaped by childhood, culture, religion, society, and personal experiences. Some people secretly believe they don't deserve wealth. Some believe money is dangerous. Some believe wanting money is selfish. Some believe wealth is only for the lucky. Some believe they'll lose everything if they gain more. These beliefs act like silent governors, limiting your actions even when you consciously want change. If deep down you believe you're not worthy of more, you will sabotage opportunities. If you believe money is evil, you will unconsciously push it away. If you believe wealth changes people for the worse, you will reject the very thing that could bring freedom to your family. So the first step in achieving financial freedom is not earning more. It is thinking differently. Imagine replacing fear with curiosity, replacing shame with awareness, replacing limitation with possibility. Ask yourself gently, what did I learn about money growing up? Does that belief still serve me today? What new belief would make my life freer? Wealth begins in the mind long before it appears in the bank. And when your mindset shifts from scarcity to possibility, from fear to understanding, from resignation to empowerment, that is when money stops controlling you, and you begin to control money. This shift is not instant. It is slow, gentle, intentional. But once it begins, your life opens in ways you never imagined. Part 4. The Mindset of True Freedom. By now, you understand how money shapes your time, how it influences your emotions, and how it affects the deeper architecture of your thoughts. So the next question becomes, what mindset creates true freedom? Because freedom is not only something you earn, it is something you practice. It is a way of thinking, a way of choosing, a way of showing up in the world. Let's explore the pillars of a freedom-centered mindset. 1. Responsibility, the first gate to freedom. Responsibility is often misunderstood. Some people hear the word and associate it with blame. It's your fault. It's your problem. But real responsibility is not blame. It is power. Responsibility means accepting that your future is shaped more by your decisions than by your circumstances. It means recognizing that even if you did not choose your starting point, you can choose your direction. When you embrace responsibility gently, not harshly, not with shame, you open the first gate to freedom. Because once you believe that your actions matter, your future begins to shift. 2. Discipline, the quiet builder of freedom. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect. It is choosing what matters most over what feels good in the moment. It is small, consistent actions. Setting aside a portion of your income, learning a new skill, tracking your spending, saying no to unnecessary habits. These choices do not feel dramatic. They do not make noise. But over time, they build structural freedom, the kind that stays even when life becomes uncertain. Think of discipline as the bricks that form the road to your future. 3. Patience, the companion of growth. We live in a world that worships speed. People want overnight success, instant results, viral moments. But financial freedom rarely arrives in a flash. It arrives slowly, quietly, like a tree growing its roots before it grows its branches. Patience is not waiting passively. It is waiting actively, continuing to nurture your habits, your knowledge, your skills, even when the progress is invisible. Patience allows you to stay the course long enough for your efforts to compound. 4. Strategic risk, choosing courage over comfort. Freedom requires courage. Not the loud, heroic kind, the steady, internal courage that whispers, "I will do what is necessary, even if I'm afraid." Every major step toward freedom involves risk. changing jobs, asking for a raise, starting a small business, investing, learning something new, leaving a situation that holds you back. But risk without strategy is reckless, and strategy without courage is stagnant. True freedom comes from the balance, thoughtful preparation combined with courageous action. 5. Purpose, the North Star of freedom. Without purpose, money becomes empty. Without direction, freedom becomes confusion. Purpose gives meaning to your success. It ensures that your financial gains create impact for your family, your community, and yourself. Purpose does not have to be grand. It can be gentle, to live peacefully, to raise strong children, to support your parents, to give back, to create something meaningful. When purpose guides your choices, freedom becomes not just personal, but powerful. The mindset of true freedom is not built in a day. It is cultivated with awareness, practice, and kindness toward yourself. It is a journey of alignment, aligning your thoughts, habits, and actions with the life you want to live. And once this mindset takes root, every financial decision becomes a step toward liberation. Part 5. The Power of Choice. How Money Shapes Your Future. At the heart of financial freedom lies a simple truth. Money gives you choices, and choices shape your future. Most people underestimate the power of a single decision, but a choice is like a doorway. Every door you walk through changes what you can see, what you can reach, and who you can become. Money doesn't guarantee a perfect life, but it expands the number of doors available to you. Let's explore this gently, one layer at a time. 1. Choice creates opportunity. Imagine two people. The first person has no financial cushion. The second has even a small buffer, 3 to 6 months of expenses saved. When opportunity appears, a course, a business chance, a relocation, a better job, who can say yes? The one who has choices. You see, poverty does not only limit resources, it limits imagination. It pushes you into survival mode, where the question becomes, how do I get through this month, instead of, what future could I build? Even a small amount of financial stability can open the mind again. It allows you to evaluate opportunities instead of ignoring them out of fear. 2. Choice creates protection. Freedom is not only about what you can pursue, it is also about what you can avoid. With financial stability, you can avoid toxic workplaces, abusive relationships, unsafe environments, unethical decisions, burnout disguised as commitment, obligations that drain your soul. The ability to walk away is one of the greatest forms of power a human can have. When you have money, you do not stay because you must, you stay because you choose to. That distinction changes everything. 3. Choice shapes identity. Every choice you make reinforces a certain version of yourself. The choice to save, the choice to invest, the choice to learn, the choice to leave behind what no longer grows you. These choices construct identity. I am someone who takes care of my future. I am someone who values time. I am someone who grows. I am someone who creates options, not limitations. Money, when aligned with intention, becomes a mirror. It reflects who you are becoming, and it influences who you believe you can be. 4. Choice allows you to design your life. Many people drift through life, shaped by circumstance, pushed by pressure, guided by fear. But when you have financial breathing room, you can become the designer of your life, not just a passenger in it. You can choose where you live, how you work, who you surround yourself with, what you build, what you contribute, what you allow, and what you no longer tolerate. Money does not guarantee a good life, but it gives you the tools to shape one intentionally. And intention is the essence of freedom. 5. Choice compounds over time. One wise financial choice may not feel powerful today, but choices compound. Just as money compounds in investments, your decisions compound in identity, direction, and destiny. A small choice repeated consistently becomes a habit. A habit becomes a path. A path becomes a life. When you see money as a tool for creating choice, every decision becomes meaningful. Every step becomes part of a greater journey toward freedom. And slowly, steadily, the future begins to shift in your favor. Money is not the master. You are. But to lead your life with clarity, you must have choices. And choices blossom when you have control of your time, your mind, and your resources. This is how money becomes freedom, not through luxury, but through intentional, empowered decision-making. Part 6. Building a life of freedom. Habits, systems, and small daily wins. By now, we've explored the inner world of money, how it shapes your time, your emotions, your choices, your identity, and your possibilities. But knowledge without action changes nothing. To build a life of freedom, you need more than insight. You need habits, systems, and daily practices that slowly, steadily reshape your future. Freedom is not achieved through one grand moment. It is built quietly, in small, intentional steps repeated over and over again. Let's walk through these steps gently. 1. The habit of awareness. Most people don't have money problems. They have awareness problems. They don't truly know how much they spend, how much they waste, how much they could save, or where their energy goes. Awareness is not about restriction. It's about clarity. Spend 1 week tracking your expenses, not to judge yourself, but to understand yourself. When you see the truth, you can begin to shape it. 2. The habit of paying yourself first. This is one of the most powerful habits in finance, yet one of the least practiced. Always pay yourself first. Before you pay bills, before you spend on wants, before you reward yourself, set aside a portion of your income for your future. It doesn't matter if the amount is large or small. What matters is the ritual. Every time you pay yourself first, you remind your mind and your money who the priority is. You. 3. The habit of skill building. Your income grows when you grow. This is a truth people often overlook. Learning one new skill, sales, communication, design, negotiation, marketing, coding, management, can raise your earning potential for the next 10, 20, or even 30 years. Skill building is freedom building, because the more valuable you become, the more choices you have. Commit to learning something every month. Read, take a course, watch tutorials, practice deliberately. Small improvements compound in extraordinary ways. 4. The habit of simplicity. The world constantly tells you to want more, buy more, chase more. But freedom thrives in simplicity. A simpler life costs less. A simpler mind worries less. A simpler routine frees more time for growth. Ask yourself, what can I remove from my life to give myself more room to breathe? Minimalism is not about owning less. It is about needing less and feeling lighter because of it. 5. The habit of consistency. Consistency is often underrated because it's not glamorous. It's not exciting. It doesn't feel dramatic. But consistency is the engine of freedom. Saving consistently, learning consistently, investing consistently, improving consistently, showing up again and again, especially on the days you don't feel like it. Consistency beats intensity. Slow beats fast. A little every day beats a lot once in a while. 6. The habit of designing your environment. Your environment shapes your behavior more than motivation ever could. Surround yourself with people who inspire growth. Fill your digital and physical space with reminders of your goals. Organize your life so that the easiest action is also the best one. When your environment supports your goals, freedom becomes not an uphill battle, but a natural direction. 7. The habit of celebrating small wins. Freedom isn't only found at the end of the journey. It's built in the small victories along the way. Your first $100 saved. Your first debt paid off. Your first new skill. Your first investment. Your first week of discipline. Your first moment of clarity. Celebrate them. Acknowledge the growth. Every small win is a seed of future freedom. Freedom is both a destination and a practice. And when daily habits support your long-term vision, you slowly step into a life you once only imagined. Part 7. The Arrival. Freedom, purpose, and the life you deserve. And now, after this long, gentle journey together, we arrive at the final chapter. You've walked through the weight of scarcity, the power of time, the psychology of wealth, the mindset of freedom, the strength of choice, and the habits that quietly reshape a life. You've seen that money is not the enemy, nor the master, nor the measure of your worth. Money is the tool, a bridge leading you from the life you have to the life you are capable of living. But now, in this final chapter, I want to bring everything back to one truth. Financial freedom is not just about money. It is about becoming the kind of person who can live freely, internally, externally, emotionally, and spiritually. Because freedom is not something that magically appears at a certain number in your bank account. Freedom is something you grow into. It is a way of seeing the world, a way of treating yourself, a way of making decisions that honor your future. Freedom begins the moment you decide that your life belongs to you again. The freedom to feel. When you are no longer drowning in financial stress, your emotions soften. You begin to feel joy without guilt, rest without fear, dream without shame. Suddenly, your days expand, your breath deepens, your thoughts become kinder. You rediscover parts of yourself you thought were lost. This emotional freedom is one of the greatest gifts money can give. The freedom to choose your purpose. When your survival no longer consumes all your energy, your spirit awakens with a new question. What am I meant to do with my life? Purpose does not scream. It whispers. And you can only hear it once your mind is no longer filled with financial noise. Freedom allows you to pursue work that fulfills you, to create something meaningful, to contribute in ways that echo beyond your lifetime. You may not change the whole world, but you can change someone's world. And sometimes, that is enough. The freedom to become yourself. This is the highest form of wealth, the ability to become who you truly are. Not the version of you shaped by fear, not the version shaped by pressure, not the version shaped by desperation, but the version shaped by intention, by clarity, by peace, by truth. Money gives you the space to grow into that version, to choose your environment, your relationships, your work, your rhythm, your legacy. That is the real meaning of money is freedom. The final invitation. So as we close this journey together, I want you to remember something simple but powerful. Your story is not fixed. Your destiny is not predetermined. Your financial past does not define your financial future. Freedom is built in moments, in choices, in habits, in courage, in belief, in consistency. And you are capable of creating a life far greater than you realize. All it takes is the first step toward clarity, toward responsibility, toward possibility, toward yourself. Thank you for listening, my friend. If this series touched you, inspired you, or opened a new way of seeing your life, I invite you to stay connected. Watch more videos on this channel for deeper lessons, stories, and guidance on building a life of freedom. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next chapter of your journey. Your path to freedom is just beginning, and I'll be right here, walking with you, one mindful, courageous step at a time.